come through. TLID with straight jungle bans. The same thing has actually been done by Onyx, Hayabusa, Boxia, Fredrin, gone. Joy, Fanny, gone. We're putting, honestly, Fabian up to the test.
Yeah, I mean, the Hayabusa is out as well. I think it's a fair ball game because, again, they want to target ban Kyrie. But to a certain extent, that also shuts down the choices that Fabian has. So I think they're going to have to play a trump card if push comes to shove. But obviously with the Boxia ban, it makes sense. I think it's more of a roam ban compared to a jungle ban because Keyboy kind of excels with the Spic as well. He introduced it back in the regular season against Bigatron, but they lost. And it enables you to just roam around the map, and you have that extra anti-regen good up against Kimmy, up against Harith, and it's a very good pick as well. But for now, the Ling gets taken out as well, so yeah, that's like 5 assassin bans, now 4 assassin bans.
And the big factor right here is that the macro threats are open, but no Kalia gets picked up. So the Luo Yi and Chip can both be secured.
Yeah.
Either team. We've seen teams go for both even. The Luo Yi immediately gets picked up by Onyx. We've seen Sans perform insanely on this hero, elevating that early game level 2 pressure into that dominant, creative late game with the diversions as well.
I think this is scary, guys, because the last time we saw Onyx pick up the Luo Yi was a, what, 12-minute, 11-minute game against Alter Ego. So, like you mentioned, the chip is still up and available, and it's a strategy that we've seen Onyx utilize before. And it's also a really good takeaway, considering that the Kalea can still be flexible in the EXP lane. And there it is.
Oh no.
The infamous chip, Luo Yi duo from the Sky King.
This is the winning condition in the draft that TLID really likes. It's snatched away from their clutches by Onyx, and now TLID, they go for the Harith and the Suyo. Obviously a very strong pair of heroes. Harith in the lane just bullies out other gold laners for Suyo. I think it's much more of a comfort compared to just being, you know, a strong pick. I think it's still a strong pick. It's strong in the hands of Fabian as well.
And this is the combo we've seen before, Suyo, Kalia, right? But here comes a Masha. Masha and Luo Yi. This was a menace a couple of seasons back, man. The Masha shows up behind you, and before you know it, your backline is non-existent. With Team Liquid ID having the Harith, there's going to be survivability available for Kyo to survive initially, but afterwards, I feel like they need something more there. Either more crowd control, more survivability, especially for your head skill as well.
If I'm not mistaken, I saw this being picked up in MPL Mena. I think it was the Grand Finals. So the Luo Yi Masha, the way it functions is that, like Arashi mentioned, you know, the teleportation, just sending the Masha into number 1, a split push up top, down bottom. You can create that segue play. But number 2 is to burst down a particular target. For example, let's say TLID has a Farsa. And I think, like, on paper, the Masha just gets bursted down by the Farsa. But if you have a Luo Yi, you can just teleport the Masha to the backline, look for the Farsa, and that's it. You win a fight, right, basically. But I think it sounds easier said than done. But I think there's an idea behind that.
And you know for sure that this Masha is going to deal damage, right? Lutfi, second leg regular season has been experimenting with so many different heroes, and all of them have been damaged. This is the adaptation that a lot of the casters, a lot of the analysts have been actually predicting coming from Onyx, and we are getting to see it live here in the flesh. Good mention on the Farsa. It's also a really huge deny pick to what usually TLID likes to go for Yehezkiel. So that's something that now TLID really have to think about as we get into the second phase of the drafts here, presented to you by the official tournament smartphone, Samsung Galaxy A36 5G. 1-1 banned out.
I feel like right now for Team Liquid ID, usually, right, against a team like this, you want to go crowd control. You want to make sure that you punish the funnel through from a diversion or a shortcut. But now with the Masha in the picture, this is a hero that can shrug off a lot of crowd control. So I feel like the angle for Team Liquid ID is to get some more damage, because the only real way to threaten and stop a Masha is to go damage and burst her down. They go for the 1-1 and Ranger ban, so they want to make sure that they themselves, with the Kalia and the Stuyo, are going to have ways to get to that backline and ensure that Severo can't really output all that damage reliably. And he's running out of options, unless he wants to go for the Moskov and go triple macro here.
Yeah. That could be an option, but sometimes when you go triple macro, it overwhelms you with options. Bigatron went for that pick in the regular season. They almost lost it against Dewa, if I'm not mistaken. But they were still able to then create that last-minute play to just have the Moskov split push But I think, again, it can be very good, but sometimes overwhelming. It makes you really... I think you have too much on your plate, and then it makes it hard for you to decide on what you want to do. But they go for the Arenthal. Against the Harith, okay.
Okay, so for sure, TLID was trying to secure a winning lane for kill, right? That's the entirety of that. Understanding that they should have to say goodbye to mid lane Prio. I guess it's still up in the air. We're not really sure what Yesko is going to be playing here. Against the Luo Yi, what do you think would be safe against Onyx?
You usually want to wave clear from a distance because the Luo Yi can kind of burst you down, but it's short range. With the Masha in the picture, though, something that's too far back is going to be difficult. I feel like the angle is to go for something that can survive a dive attempt. Something like a Chushin, something like a Zask even, right? Technically. Because that way, even though you get bursted down, you're going to have some impact left behind.
Yeah, usually we see the Kimmy being picked up against the Luigi, but they still go for it. All right. Farsa picked up for Yehezkiel. Strong, long range, big burst in the early game, good rotations, but like Realize mentioned earlier, very, very vulnerable to the dive coming in from Onyx.
Yeah, this Farsa will have to be protected at all costs. I mean, they have the Badang to stop the Masha just running blatantly into the Farsa or even other targets. They have the Kalea as well to have that Tsunami Slam. But they'll go for the Kaja.
Wow.
What? Wait. Masha jungle?
What are we looking at?
I don't know. I'm jumbled up.
We're gonna throw it over to Miracle. Maybe he has an idea. Miracle Shepin, take it away. What do you guys think, boys?
The battlefield is set, and the first blood will be drawn today. But what a way to start the draft just now. That is something that's gonna throw us back to Season 11 Onyx. Kaja on the jungle. Like, this is something that we've never expected before. It's a debut pick, even for roaming, right?
Yeah.
This season.
We haven't seen it in Rome at all, I believe.
In jungle? Preposterous. While their brothers in the Philippines head to Riyadh. Here in Indonesia, one giant must fall. The most decorated franchise in ID against the reigning champions. It's legacy versus pride. Onyx takes on Team Liquid ID in MPL Indonesia Season 15 playoffs. It starts now.
Welcome to the Land of Dawn, ladies and gentlemen, where we get to see the Kaja in the jungle in the hands of Kai. Someone who we expect to go on Assassins. I guess in a way it's a pickoff hero, right? Impure Rage on Kai. I wonder if it's just going to be like a tanky build. Support emblem with the Thrill and the Season Hunter.
And believe it or not, I think this game is going to put a lot of emphasis towards the EXP picks. Because in the early game, it's Loot Beast game with this initial damage. And there's going to be a lot of work to do for Iran in the early game too, because he's the one that's going to counter the engages coming in from Kyrie.
But that's why it's going to be weird, right? I think in the early game, they're going to have to bank on the damage of Kai. Oh, quite a bit of damage there. We're still gauging, ladies and gentlemen, how good this Kaja pick's going to be. So far, so good. Solid damage as Keyboy places a bit more with a Crash Course, and Witty is forced to recall the mid lane. Divine Judgment for Kai, and it's first blood.
On cue right away. Kyrie, the god of the jungle, he can play anything. That's including the Kaja. Kyoto might be getting engaged on. Keyboy already on the case. It looks like he read the movement. So this game is just about engaging the engager. Like, a lot of times we see the Luo Yi pick. We saw the Chip pick. They want to play reactively, but right now, they don't give a damn.
They really did. I think the orthodox pick would just be for them to go for the Lucas. We called it here on the desk. We were talking about, all right, this is gonna be a Lucas game. TLID didn't ban it. Keyboy walking down though. Uh-oh, that inexperience biting him in the back, but it will be traded for a turtle. So at least TLID don't walk away empty-handed.
Bit of a rookie mistake there. Kyo could have been a no trade for TLID getting the turtle also. But looking at the lineup from and the win rates that's coming in from these teams, Sans is still undefeated on the Luo Yi. So even though this is a Chip and Luo Yi combo, which a lot of people don't really like because, you know, the overloads of the teleporters, I think it's still gonna work for Onyx, especially this is the team that we know can pull off some crazy stuff. Looking at the talent prediction though. Woo. Wait, I think I predicted TLID 3-2 actually.
You went for TLID?
Or bias prediction.
Well, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. 3 Onyx, 2 TL. So diversion up top, Aran's gonna be caught. Divine Judgment coming down with Luke P going in all the way. Won't be enough damage to take Aran down. The Badang good at disengaging. A flicker out as Fabian continues to path in the opposite side of the jungle, getting that level lead against Kai.
And as I said earlier, this is gonna be an early game for Lutpi because he has the early game damage. Meanwhile, Savero he still needs to stack up the items. So they're gonna be rotating on towards the XP a lot, but Witty!
Instant burst down. Good night, Witty. Good night, Witty to Keyboy. Purple buff.
And now Kyrie. This is tricky because there you go. This is the problem when you're picking a Kaja. You're not the most dynamic jungler out there. You're pretty much just ult jungle, and your jungling potential is super low. Keyboy though, on towards Kyo.
Short comes the Crash Course, a Purify already used as Kyo runs away. Kai gets the Divine Judgment. Lutpi again with the damage as Sans gets the dispersion enough to take him down.
Kyrie said, get over here to Mr. Kyo, and that's 2 kills already on the rookie. There's probably gonna be some consideration of substitution game number 2 if he still continues to perform like this.
Fabian on the turtle. Kai doesn't have the Divine Judgment just yet. It's still on cooldown. Lutpi going in. That's going to be the all in over to the back. Aran going to be taken down. Winnie's still there. As Lutpi goes for more damage. Winnie taken out. Retribution from Fabian with a Soul Sever combo. Turtle 2 over to TL, but Onyx win on the battle.
Yep, 2 kills. They'll take that any day of the week. And Kyrie is gonna take that jungling boost to further boost his potential on the burst. I'm kind of curious about the build coming in from Kyrie because is it gonna be, oh, there you go. It's a Thunder Belt, so a bit more utility right now, a bit more slows as well. So this is gonna be the, that Season 11 Kyrie utility jungle era, which is in a way good because Onyx was dominating at the era, but at the same time, this is Kyrie we're talking about. They missed out on the assassin potential of the god of the jungle.
We can say that all we want, Shepin, but unfortunately, if we look at the drafts again, right, he was kind of forced into this position. And Onyx were prepared for it. That's Witty. Tsunami Slam already bringing out Keyboy. Oh, before he can do anything. Kai walking up. Aran going for the disengage already. Oh, Lutpi! Thunderclap in the midst of it. All kill. Going to be taken down to Witty. Falls as well to Lutpi.
But Keyboy, though, that's a really fast reaction on the teleporter there, knowing that he's gonna be engaged on and he needs his teammates' help to retaliate. And he's already healthy right now on the bottom lane, screening for Savero.
Now I understand, why a lot of people that I've spoken to, analysts, a lot of pundits, a lot of just fans of TL, have been saying that Aaron might be the better choice in playoffs. Playing in this grand stage is quite intimidating, and we gotta say, Kyo definitely is feeling it.
Yep, there's a reason why Aaron Shiki is named the untouchable one. He performed at the most grandiose stage in M6. Kind of fell short though, but he's gonna be here to support the rookie and maybe give his inputs as well in the break that's gonna come after game number 1. Onyx though right now still 1.7k gold lead. They're in a pretty good position despite them picking this Kaja. And now, second objective battle, surely this favors TLID just because of the jungle.
Aran on it already with Fabian. Keyboy does have the shortcut. Sans not going to look for an angle here. Kai's just going to walk up for the airstrike coming down. Witty able to go for the Tsunami Slam. Oh! 3-win. Zabon Force coming out. Keyboy able to walk away. Witty though caught again. Let's Mega kill. Fabian going to be caught in the Thunderclap again. And Aran falls to Savero.
Oh, they're not stopping just yet. Look, he just goes in again.
Diversion to the back. Keyboy looking for the Crash Course. Unable to go for the Sun. Kai with the flank. A killing spree. SQ whip down. Lutpi. A shutdown to him. He's unstoppable.
A portrait in motion for the Porcupines. Like, listening to a beautiful staccato right now. 4.5k gold lead. This is the old Onyx that we're used to seeing. But what a play coming in from the whole team of Onyx. They're not stopping. Even with Kiwi getting bursted down. The early team fight.
It's strange, Shepin. The old Onyx, but the new Liquid, that just doesn't feel right. 3-12, 5,000 gold lead, neutral objective control, but I think they're usually known as a team that has the better battles, the better skirmishes. Now it's Onyx who are playing their game.
Yep. And they can take this as long as they want to, especially with the fact that Keyboy and Sans can pull the trigger anytime they want to. Lutpi secured a huge item there. So all the damage dealers coming in from TLID will be much more vulnerable by now. And it secured that, I believe, tire hit as well. Hoping for it to proc in the later part of the game. 6K for Onyx.
Wow. And Onyx at this point, they're going to have to play just discipline. At this point, they don't need to rush anything.
Yeah.
5,000 goal lead at 8 minutes with a composition that even though you think is more of the early game, I think it's more a mid-game for Lutpi especially. Now that he has to have to see, 2,000 goal lead in XP. Technically, he's known for this. Last time we were in the Velodrome, it was Lutpi who carried Onyx with the carry picks to secure the 4th title. Back to back to back to back.
They stuck to the KTV, man. Give Lutpi the EXP carry, the Paquitos, the Benedetta. And this time, it's Masha. We've been wondering why it got banned quite a lot in the regular season. But this is the answer. 5-0-3 for Mr. Lutpi, and he's looking to get more in his back. And the fact that he can just split wherever he wants to. There's 2 teleporters. He can go into teamfight anytime he wants.
It's way too easy for Onyx to set up after getting the early game lead. We expected TLID to be the ones leading in the early game, and then in the mid game, perhaps for Onyx to turn the tides with the man advantage, with those teleports. But when they have a lead like this gives Onyx all the room for Prio up top. TLID are not sending anyone. Holy Defense already procced. Lutpi is going to stay there.
Wait a minute, Kyo, is he gonna clear? Is he gonna cross that?
He's dead if he
bridge?
does.
Yeah. Looks like he's gonna take the long route, but Onyx, they're on a case on towards the Lord. Already 20k. Keyboy might be getting engaged on.
Tsunami Slam over to Keyboy. Unable to go. Shortcut and the flicker route. Kyrie walks the Divine Judgment over to Fabian. Sabero picks up the killing spree. Heavy crossbow coming down. Witty. Gun down. Onyx with a 2-0 lead.
How do you deal with this diversion on towards that bushes? Kyo did not read that one. It looks like Onyx will take this one without any contest.
Okay.
There you go. I was wondering, Mirko, like at this point, Kyo and Yehezkiel, what do they do? What are they here for? Because if they actually proc the ultimate, Lutpi can just jump on them with the flicker, and it's easy picking for him.
That's a good question. I don't know what he does. Either way, it's going to be tough. He has Purify up against Akaja. Again, easy Divine Judgment. It goes through that suppression. I'm trying to think about it. I'm trying to think about ways, but we do have a game fact here by our new application, Goping.
Kyrie Skaja Jumpler makes a return in MPL Indonesia after being last used by Kyrie in MPL ID Season 11 regular season when Onyx defeated Alter Ego. And Sans, that's a huge item there on the Winter Crown. Now, you can see the old Sans with the Purifies, with the Winter Crown, the Micro God of Indonesia for the longest time. Lutpi also secured that Malefic War. So, again, if they want to go for a run, they can do it any day of the week.
It really just feels, Aran is holding an angle, perhaps looking for a play again. Jumps onto Sans, but he has to Purify. Witty able to go for the catch. Yep, nice walking up. The Lord as well. Savero, that damage! The Hezkiel and Kyo down very low. Diversion onto the side. They're going to take it. But it's still just away. Tsunami Slam locking Keyboy down. Now with the lockdown as well, with the shortcut coming down. Keyboy has the immortality. Witty obliterated. Keyboy still stays alive. Kyo goes in. Aran goes over to the crack. Gets a kill on the Keyboy, but Lutpi and Kai are just dismantling the back. Base wide open. Savero walking him down in the fountain. Another wave spawning in. 16 seconds for Witty. Onyx can take it slow.
They're still gonna wait for the minions. Mid lane turret will be down to the hands of Savero. Fabian and Kyo, 2 defenders for the Stallions.
Persian, yo, what happened to Fabian? It's a magic trick. You blink and you miss it. Lutpi wants to go for more. Onyx start the best survive with a game 1 dominant display.
12k against the reigning champion of MPL ID. We might see a resurgence of Onyx ever since Yep came back. It's just all good for the Porcupines and all the Sonics. They're happy to see this. The old dominant Onyx in game number 1. Way too easy.
I don't want to say we expected this, but we kind of did. You've heard the scary stories all throughout. How good Onyx are. behind the scenes, how much they've been preparing. A good friend of mine, Mr. Midnight, Mr. MPL, just messaged me saying Yeb is a cheat code. I think he really is, man. This guy, the impact that he's brought to the table right instantly as he rejoins back the team that he left.
My deepest apology to Coach Yeb, because I doubted you when you first came in. And look at the TIFO, better than Arsenal's somehow.
Everyone's TIFO is better than Arsenal. We don't need to talk about, we don't need to mention it.
Yep. This is the ending moment there. Good effort by Iran, but Tons with the Winter Crown and only gets P-Boy at the end of the week. And Kyrie, this is unnerving for TLID. But panelists, you gotta break it down for us. Eterna, got something to say?
Boys, thank you, Sheffin. Thank you, Mirko. Wow, 12 minutes and 17 seconds, I believe. That was a very fast first game in this best of 3. The Sky Kings take it 1-0.
Oh boy, dude, that was a rough one. I really think that, I thought that Team Liquid ID really should have gone for a chip or a low yi, dude. I feel like it's in the win conditions. There's no reason not to go for it. The clear is valuable, but dang, dude, we saw how Onyx were able to use both, and we know that they can pick both and take it away from Team Liquid ID. So I thought there was a bit of an oversight. And then afterwards, the Badang to try and maybe stop the Masha. Bro, Lutfi was out of control, dude. That was brutal.
We had this conversation, right? Was it fatal for TLID to just not contest the Luoyi and Chip? Because it's their bread and butter. They like this composition, they like the global presence of it, and they thrive with it. But it feels like taking Kalea first pick and leaving that Luoyi and Chip open was a fatal mistake for them. Because we saw what Onyx was able to do with the mashup, plus the Kaja as well. They wanted more engaged, they had that lockdown as well. They had multiple ways of just picking off TLID and then engaging it, following it up into a bigger fight that just destroys TLID.
Because I feel like it's a double negative, because they lose the macro pressure and they're giving it to Onyx, who really know how to use it, right? Maybe the idea is to get P-Boy on the chip, so that way, you know, there won't be any big engages, right? But then, boom, Kyrie in the jungle with the Kaja. Bro, Coach Yeb, man, who let him cook?
It was all according to plan, because if we take a look at the drafts, legit, they knew that TLID would go for respect bans against Kyrie, for sure. And they also did the same thing to Fabian to try and limit the jungle pick possibility. And the fact that they pulled in a debut pick Kaja, something that we haven't seen. Have we ever seen a Kaja in the jungle? I don't remember it.
I think earlier we saw that asset say that it was last seen in Season 11 when Onyx
Season
won
11.
against Alter Ego using the Kaja still. I think Kyrie himself was also there.
That was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Wow.
We're gonna play the game though.
For sure.
Oh,
Kyrie on the Kaja was a really good mediator to, you know, of course, mediate this, right? The player of the game presented to you by the official tournament smartphone Samsung Galaxy A36 5G. Lutfi on his signature damage-dealing EXP laners. The Masha comes through though this time.
And everything just works so well right here. The fact that Onyx should not have a suppression available to them. But with this weird pick in the jungle, they're able to secure that. And because of that, dude, the early game was brutal, man. Again, they have so many ways to secure the kills. They got the damage output supplemented by Lutfi on that Masha. And if you look at the win conditions for TLID here, which is, you know, get some damage, right? Have enough damage to melt down the Masha so that the Masha can't really be out of control. They're going to be relying on Kyo. And in the mid-game, Kyo was 0 and 4. Onyx knew exactly who they wanted, and every single team fight, Kyo was just demolished, dude. He was not allowed to participate.
He was a little shut down. I mean, we talked about the Masha again,
man.
having so much agency, plus the Luoyi as well that helped the Masha activate with the diversion. You could see that he was going in for those important prio targets, like the Paris, the Farsa again. But not only that, but he's also able to display the macro game, split push up top, always push the waves and make it crash onto the turret. So it's like TLID are overwhelmed with so many issues that Onyx is bringing to the table, and voila, it's just a quick game.
And we haven't even started talking about Salvero. The fact that he's on an Irithel, so he can't really be ganked as easily, can run the Purify, has the heavy crossbow to get out of danger. So even if Team Liquid ID wants to lead away, wants to avoid team fights and go and shut down the gold lane and get Kyo snowballing to be able to deal with the Masha, with the frontline presence of Onyx, they can't do it either. So, dude, the layering of the win conditions from Onyx here is crazy, man. This is what makes it so difficult to try and expect what Onyx are going to come up with when Coach Jeb is in the picture.
Sleeping Giants, right? The Sky Kings. Depending on how, of course, the series goes, the fact that we've seen the performance from them here in game number 1 just really shows that they have so many different strategies that we haven't even touched yet or scratched on the surface.
Eternal, look, the only kills that Team Liquid ID got were on the roamer. Everyone else, perfect game. So you tell me what that means.
Yeah.
Dude.
Unfortunate.
That
Keyboy
is crazy.
Keyboy was in the front line, obviously, crashing in with the shortcut. So,
I think it's the design. I think, like, compared to everyone else, the chip is the most sacrificial one.
Yeah.
So, fine, take the chip. Use your Feather Airstrike. Use all the combos on the chip. We don't care. That means the Lo Yi can just go in. The Masha can go in. The Irithel can just heavy crossbow and just start shooting.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Beautiful game from Onyx. I'd say a very seamless game as well, because it felt like they wanted to play the pickoff style, but at the same time they were running into TLID, you know, blatantly. So it was hard for TLID to stop it again. And we had this conversation with Arashi. Would Akai be a better pick? Because they need something to dissuade the Masha from running in, right? The Badang doesn't really stop it, because aside from the Masha, you also have the chip, and then you have the Irithel just gunning down at you. We also had that conversation, well, maybe a split push carry for Iran might be better. But I think that also kind of is hard because they have the Loy to match that pressure.
Exactly. And the Masha in a 1v1 really isn't any pushover either.
Yeah.
So they need someone to split push that can escape, mainly. That's why we thought the Benedetta might be an option for Iran. If it's not that, I feel like the Badang will work against a lot of different dive compositions. But against a comp with the Masha in particular, man, you saw Lutfi just power through the first crack and just go to town. That's why we thought the Akai maybe, at least, it's not as damage heavy, but it's more constant crowd control.
Yeah.
Maybe would have been enough to save one of the backline members. But overall, again, once you go and solve one problem, the other ones are still given to you by Onyx. So that still isn't a winning condition either. Man, nothing given, honestly.
I mean, you can see from the stats that, you know, he has still tried his best, right? 23,000 damage dealt.
That's a lot.
But overall, he is actually close to Lutfi on the Masha. So,
I think
Better airstrike.
6k off, yeah. That ultimate is very strong as well to just play around Onyx backline. But Onyx was very, very calculative.
yeah, it didn't matter.
But I think what you should look at right here is the fact that Kyo deals marginally a bit more damage over Aran on the Badang. This is a Harith, and this is a Harith that wants to be team fighting, right?
Right.
And yet, you can see that he was absolutely shut down. We talked about how Onyx can shut down junglers, but we're seeing again, when the jungle isn't the win condition, they can go for the mid lane. They know how to shut down every single role here in order to really just shut down whatever win opportunities your team can possibly get. And Kyo was the recipient of that factor here.
For
in the
sure.
first game.
He's only on 2 items. He hasn't even gotten the chance to either go Holy Crystal or
Yikes.
even, you know, Blood Wings. Nothing. Just the Starlight Scythe and the Feather of Heaven. And back to the point earlier, despite Yehaskill being one of the highest on the damage dealt, it makes sense because the damage dealt is only onto Keyboy.
Yep.
Meanwhile, if we're looking at Onyx, you can see that the damage dealt was given over onto the important people, right? Kyo, a lot of times getting taken down. You can see him getting a lot of damage taken. Weedy as well, even Iran. So, like you guys mentioned, the Badang wasn't given any chance or possibility to make a play, considering that every time he did go in, he was always taken out before he was able to make that play.
Yeah. And honestly, the Kaja in the jungle, aside from just being a great way to kind of like round out the composition, I feel like it's kind of underrated when it comes to clear speed, right? Because he's clear there against the Suyo. He wasn't really winning it out, but he wasn't really falling too far behind. That could be because of the team helping him out, sort of. But still, dude, that's a respectable amount of speed that he has in the clearing department. And technically with the passive, the empowered basic attack of the Kaja, you actually have a deceptively good time trying to steal away objectives. We've seen it before in past seasons. Roamers on the Kaja will just flick away and just whip that neutral objective and steal it away.
Yeah, and Kyrie was also going to a much more tankier build, obviously, with the Oracle and then with the Radiant Armor, because he knew that he was not going to be the main carry. Obviously, as a Kaja, you're much more supplementary. And there goes Lutfi, full build, full damage build, excuse me, that had to seize first item, just full on with a mission in his mind that he needs to take down and burst down those targets in TLID quickly.
I mean, look at this timeline, dude. The War X for Fabian, the guy we were talking about farming well, was completed at what, like 8 minutes?
More.
8 minutes something. That's kind of, oh man.
I think there's kind of this gap line where on the early game it felt like TLID had control and he was able to farm up a bunch, get that Hunter Strike. But then, boom, the Onyx Apocalypse happened. He wasn't able to farm.
Onyx Apocalypse.
Yeah.
I like that.
He wasn't able to just have that agency to move around, farm to his likeness, and get the item quickly, because you can take a look at that gap that was kind of long, and that gap was, yeah, the Onyx Apocalypse.
So now the big question is, what do they have to do in game number 2? Let's start with the drafts first, right? Because I think that's where it all went wrong for TLID. Luo Yi and Chip together being able to be picked up by the... Let's rewind a bit, because we're looking at the bans first, right? TLID went for 3 straight jungle / you mentioned roam ban with the Boxia. I would actually consider it to be a Kyrie pick, because he even set up on stage, right? He's half Boxia. I'm half Boxia now.
Half Boxia.
There's even like an asset for it. But
Boxia from Bukas.
anyway, would we change the bans there first? Do they go for a different side, maybe?
That's kind of tricky, because again, you have to pinpoint and navigate through the draft, where it doesn't give Onyx as much freedom to play what they really want to play with the power that they have in a lot of heroes, because this is a team that is able to play a lot of heroes, right? I mean, that Kaja in the jungle was a statement from Kyrie as well.
Yep.
But I think, again, playing to their strengths, I think it's fine to trade the Boxia with the chip. Totally fine, because I think Liquid also likes the chip more. And I think it's more prio for a first pick chip to happen compared to the Luo Yi for Liquid. So I think just trade out. I mean, if Onyx can have a power pick that they like with the Boxia, you can have it too with the chip. So it's a fair game, I guess.
I feel like if you want to look at it positively, again, you have to remember this is a best of 5 after all.
Yeah.
You know, Realize was telling me like, dude, this is gonna be quick, man. Onyx are so dominant. And I have to remind them painstakingly that, remember, the last time RRQ seemed to have Team Liquid ID solved out, it was a reversal. It's a best of 5, man. There's a lot more games to go. And Team the Lucas does have that problem-solving factor we've seen again and again. So I feel like it's if you want to take it positively, this might be Team Liquid ID probing at like how flexible, whether banning out Kyrie can be an angle. But now after seeing that Masha, after seeing some of those surprise picks from Onyx, I feel like the bans definitely are gonna change over from Team Liquid ID. Is that gonna be enough for them to get a dominant, a winning draft against Onyx? I really doubt it, to be honest, with Coach Jeff in the picture. But we'll have to wait and see.
What did you guys think about the Suyo pick in the first phase? Did you think that was a comfort pick? Do you think that Suyo is still strong in this meta after seeing, different regions kind of experiment with their jungle picks?
Well, I mean, it's still strong to a certain degree, but I made it clear from the get-go that Suyo pick is comfortability for Fabian.
For more comfort.
Yeah, it's for more comfort. He has more time to farm quickly with the Suyo, get his items rolling. But I think the Suyo was just under too much pressure. It was very hard for, again, like how Arashi mentioned. So does the roamer wants to protect a single member, or does the roamer want to really, become the sacrificial lamb and just play for everyone? And that happened. That dilemma happened for Witty, because Onyx was just everywhere on the place. They were shutting down the left side, right side. Kyo was also shut down. So Fabian had no help on that regard, and the Suyo just made it worse because he fell because of how aggressive Onyx became with the Masha and the Kaja.
I feel like that could be also the idea could be to kind of build onto the Kalea, right? Again, Kalea Well, Kalea or Jawhead, a pick-up hero along with a Suyo, has been a working combo.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, the Suyo can clear fast, has good mobility if you want to try and get out of sticky situations, and you can also execute, right? You can seal the deal when someone's low HP as well. So it's not really a bad pick at all, I feel like. And then we go to have it. So I think the idea was to go for this early game pick-off heavy style, right? That's where the Farsa comes in as well afterwards. And then later on, in the mid game, the Harris should be taking over.
Right.
But I think the pick I'm looking more towards is the Badang, like you mentioned, man. Because what exactly was the idea for Aran to be doing here? Is he going to be diving in? Right? Is he going to be peeling back? Because I feel like if you're going to be peeling or diving, there could be better options regardless. He seems to be something that's in the middle, a bit too much even.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So we're looking at the Luoyi and Chip problem that TLID will have to address in the next draft. And what else do you think? Is it just purely that?
Recovery.
Did you see any issues with, execution by a particular player?
I think it's just recovery now.
Just recovery.
Mentally recovering from this because it's a storm. But I actually mentioned it.
12 minutes.
That sweep might happen if they're able to solidly become like a unit.
Are we going to be looking at a 3-0 today for the Sky Kings?
Arashi.
It's a huge possibility.
Crazy.
What was your prediction for this match? TLID 3.
He went 3-2 TLID.
3-2
I
TLID.
believe so. I thought as Team Liquid ID could
Okay.
get it done,
Okay.
right? They also got it done against RRQ, so I gotta gotta show some respect.
A
there.
little bias there.
Wrap them up, yeah.
Just a little bit. But I think a lot of people were thinking this is gonna be one of the highlighted matches, even though it's the first match of the playoffs.
Oh.
And so far at least, Onyx has kind of made sure that doesn't seem to be the case. But looking at this asset it's right now, the Battle of Champions.
Battle of Champions. MSC, know your rival. We're looking at these teams that have been able to lift up the trophy. We're looking at CLPH, champion of M4 World Championship. We have Onyx PH for the champions of almost. Oh, wait, they were champions of the M6 World
M6.
Championship. What are we going to be expecting for this next MSC? As you know, we're kind of on the way to it right now.
One thing that I like is the resurgence of unexposed.
Unexposed.
I think we
teams.
do
Okay.
have a poster for that, so I'm gonna keep that for later.
Okay. Okay.
So we're gonna focus on the GOAT.
The
GOAT.
Conquered all the official tournament trophies this man has collected.
It's kind of crazy.
Bro.
He has the M series from Onyx PH.
Yeah.
He has the MSC when he was with.
Season 7,
Was it Execration back in the
Yeah.
day?
Good throwback. First season.
First season.
With of course, an MPL trophy to boot. He's completed everything. We're looking at a player that's successful, being able to lift all three.
And he's young.
He's
He
young.
is.
He has a long career ahead of him if he can keep himself locked in. And on top of that, so I guess now he's on side quests, right?
He has
when
completed
you've
all of it.
completed the game of life and now you're just
Yeah.
doing side quests.
Side
dude.
quests.
Looking for the other tournaments that aren't really up there.
Yeah.
Aren't
That's
really
so
official.
crazy. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Miracle, correct me if I'm wrong, but back at MSC and Execration, I think he was also Finals MVP in the gold lane.
Was it him or was it like
And then M6 Finals MVP
Finals MVP as well.
in the gold lane.
I forget if he
But
was
guys,
the
back at
MVP.
home, I have really bad memory. I think a lot of people already
Wasn't that
know that by
Chakno?
now. Was it Chakno?
I'm kind of hazy myself, man. It might be an age thing, honestly.
Age thing.
But regardless of whether or not he was the MVP, his mechanics back then were already crazy. I think even back then, being relatively new to the scene, I'm like, dang, this guy's crazy. He's different.
Yeah. This guy has completed MLBB.
He has.
So-
That's it. He's no longer just the golden standard in the gold lane. He's legit the golden standard player.
for MLBB.
That's so crazy. He has a little bit of a quote to his perspective on the Indonesian rookie gold laners. Whoever has glasses, take the stage.
Yep.
All right, so all of the teams have improved compared to previous seasons. The rookie I noticed the most is maybe.
Interesting.
As I think he has potential with good mechanics and well-prepared positioning during the clashes.
We talked about this.
Maybe.
I think it was the when we kickstarted MPL ID Season 15, it was week 1, week 2. We saw maybe number 1 have that mechanic. He was so good with the heroes like the Moskov, which I think everyone is good with the Moskov. I think it's a very...
Are you good with the Moscow?
I am. I'm the gold standard in the Moskov. You gotta ask Mirko for that.
That's fake news. Ladies and gentlemen, that is fake news.
But number 2, maybe is so mature on his decision making. He's able to play the macro game neatly, and to have that praise come from Kelra when you haven't made it to playoffs yet, you know he's the real deal, sir.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy because he didn't mention Tori, he didn't mention Arfi. Kyo even not mentioned.
Yeah,
as
man.
a rookie.
Skylar, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be noticed, to be named by the gold standard, that is definitely something to brag about. If I was maybe, I'll be going home like, Mom, Dad, Kelra mentioned me, dude. I'm someone now. I'm a real human now.
Accolade.
I was a nobody.
I'll hang it on the wall that I was quoted by Kelra. But I had this conversation with Mirko. I asked him, what do you think if Kelra makes it to MPL ID? Do you think he'll get destroyed? Nah, he'll destroy everyone. Bar Eman, he says.
Bar Eman.
Or maybe on the same level.
Oh.
Eman and Kelra,
Yeah.
same level.
I think just clashing
Interesting
together.
take.
Bold statement here, realized in
take.
front of the public.
Nah. I'm not saying that they are on the same level, but they're kind of close. At least in the...
I think Eman, it's safe to say that Eman is the closest thing
Yeah.
we have to Kelra.
What I'm trying to say is
At
that...
this point in time, yes.
But to say that they're
e-
close.
Yeah, equal.
equal,
Equal?
even.
No, I mean like, what I'm trying to say, okay, let's rephrase
Okay,
everything, right?
okay, it's fine, it's fine.
So the
We'll go back.
Take a
we'll
step
go
back, take a step
The
back.
scenario was, what if
Okay.
Kelra enters MPL ID?
Right.
And Mirko says, yeah, he's going to destroy MPL ID. He's going to be going insane. But the only guy who can get close to him is Eman.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the main premise. I'm not saying that he's equal to Eman.
This is where phrasing becomes important, realize.
Yeah, we gotta
be careful
frame
with that.
properly.
You know, sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, you're a victim of it, huh?
I have bear witness to interesting phrasing coming in from Realize. That is certainly the case.
But speaking of interesting, we're actually going to see these two teams opt to swap sides. TLID for game number 2 will actually be on red side, I believe. Did I see the asset correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say it was correct. Let's say it is correct. Let's say my eyes didn't fail me this time, right?
Yeah.
What would we say would be different coming from them on red side?
Oh boy, I feel like for them on red side, then the Fanny for sure will show up on their side of the bans. It's just a bit too important. But along with that, I don't think they're going to go for a full-on assassin type of ban. There could be a chance that they want to go for one of the macro threats. I'm not sure if they want to go toe-to-toe against Onyx, you know, like low Yi for Chip or Chip for low Yi. So I think it's going to start there. And along with that, maybe some looks towards the gold lane, right? Because the gold lane, if both teams are so good and they can kind of like stall out long enough, the gold lane always becomes important. So, especially with Kyo in the picture, that has, you know, has to be a bit more by the book. I feel like Team Liquid ID definitely have some ideas for that gold lane.
I think if we're talking generally, more the draft and the red side, TLID has a chance to be more reactive. So they can probe, like you said, look at, you know, the draft early on, and then they can respond to what Onyx wants to play. So now they're following the script, but they can flip it in the last few picks.
So let's see if that's actually gonna come to unfold as we get into the drafts. Ladies and gentlemen, for game number 2, presented to you by the official tournament smartphone, Samsung Galaxy. With TLID now on red side, there you go. We are seeing a change. Luo Yi banned out, respected away from Suns. Onyx, however, still go for the same route, right? There's still respect, banning Fabian with a Ling, the Joy, and respecting maybe yet another jungle ban here coming into the 3rd slot.
Wait a second, is Onyx trying to force Team Liquid ID to put Fabian on some kind of fighter? Was that the idea? Right, because we really haven't seen him be as flexible as he was during the quote-unquote prime era of Team Liquid ID.
Yeah.
But man, with the Ling and the Joy already, that certainly narrows down the hero pools. And Kyrie doesn't have the same problem. Kyrie can play those utility heroes. He can play the Kaja. No problem at all.
I think this is one of the largest criticisms given towards TLID, especially during that 2-week break. The fact that TLID have for so long worked around Fabian. Fabian to carry, Fabian being the number one killer. But what happens when Fabian's level of sharpness gets limited by his own hero pool? So we were expecting some adaptations coming in from Fabian in particular. Let's hope if he's actually explored different options, considering Onyx will actually take away the chip instead.
Yeah, gonna ban it out. I mean, for TLID now, they can have the chance to maybe ban the Boxia here, but then, no, I don't think they're, wait. If banning the Boxia comes here, means that, yeah, Onyx can get Kalea, so yeah. They're trying to ban out the Kalea, and Onyx, they can trade here. If they want to go for the Boxia, TLID takes the Luo Yi. Oh, sorry, Luo Yi's banned, so yeah, no global presence whatsoever.
Yep.
For Onyx, it'll be the Padang first pick, so...
Wow, okay.
I think it's much more of a safe pick for Onyx.
It's a flex pick as well. Onyx loves having the flex potential. That's why they always go for the red side, right? They want you to show your cards, and they always have something in the bag, something in the top hat to just surprise you with. So they go with the Badang that they kind of move around over.
Which technically can still build damage in the EXP lane as well.
Exactly. So for Team Liquid ID, they want to go for the same gold lane approach here, because if they go for the Harith, we saw that, you know, with the Masha earlier, the Harith couldn't really do much. Although without the global presence, maybe Team Liquid ID are confident enough that they can kind of get it done this time. Oh, Bovius Mathilda.
What?
That's comfort, right, for TLID. We've seen the same strategy even back in MPL ID Season 14. It's something that they could actually go for maybe an alpha with, that they can combo. An option that they can go for here, especially now that Matilda gets taken down.
Yeah, Mathilda. Witty was global #1 on this Mathilda, if I'm not mistaken. So this pick is respected a lot whenever he's in the picture. Now with the Phobias though, if they want to add an alpha to it, then the two are going to be fighting for that Mathilda airline ticket. That's the first issue. Second of all, for Onyx, they can go for a strong EXP laner and still get a winning lane against his Phobias. The Badang can very easily go to roam.
CC?
Exactly, right? Because we've seen T-Boy pull up a crazy roam Badang. So with the Glue and the Hayabusa, a lot of dive potential right here actually. There might be an angle for Onyx to just skip over the Phobias and just get to that back line.
Did they go the Faramis now though, Arashi?
Oh.
Because they're looking at the glue, right? The Faramis might just come out here. It's also quite good against the Hayabusa. You have that extra life with the Nether Realm.
But then it groups you up together for the Badang.
Yeah, that's
right?
exactly it, right?
So they can go Vexana instead.
Vexana? I think Vexana is, I don't know, in this meta, it's very, very situational. And
well, against the blue, you know, the blast, the passive.
Yeah, they still go Faramis though.
Faramis, yeah.
I mean, I think that concern from you is very, very warranted, because the Faramis entails you to just group up together on the back of another realm, and then that is actually a beautiful setup for Keyboy to pop the fist crack, and then it becomes a problem.
Well, the Faramis does show up here, and technically the glue is actually weaker now compared to before against the Faramis, because you get the blob passive, you get that effect a lot more frequently and a lot longer compared to before, when you have to use the ultimate in order to block it. So I think the EXP lane is going to be a bit weaker now for the side of Onyx. And again, they're all moving inwards. You know, they're all trying to dive in together here. So anything that can AoE from Team Liquid ID is going to be a lot more valuable too.
Okay, Alpha gets banned out, so the possibility of the Alpha Matilda combination gets taken away. If we're talking about AoE damage, Arashi, from TLID, was it? Earlier on, Arashi?
What?
Was it TLID looking for an AoE damage dealer? Or was it for Onyx?
I think it works for both, but I think it works better for Team Liquid ID. Because they can get something to stop the dive.
Exactly. So I'm looking at something like Xborg, maybe as a possibility for Fabian, if he's explored it. And I'm wondering whether or not TLID want to go for the ban against Valentina. Because technically, Onyx still have the ability to pick up Valentina, take the Nether Realm for themselves, but instead they go for the Yves ban, taking it away from Sans.
They're focusing more on the team fight prowess here. Again, any kind of AoE, any kind of way for Onyx to kind of force Team Liquid ID to stick around in the same area, like the real-world manipulation. Yeah, that could be you know, a winning factor here. So they go for the Chushin and the Yi first. But again, with the Valentina can be an option, especially if they want to go for. Yeah, the Valentina can be an option, or the Kimi actually.
Kimi.
Right.
Kimi is still available, obviously.
Continuous damage output has always been a great solution here. And you can hit everyone at the same time with that Kimi when they are grouping up for the Paramis.
They have a good setup as well, right? On the back of a detraction pulse. But now it's up to TLID to go for their pick. I mean, they are still without a marksman, jungler as well. Fabian, what does he pick, right? Because again, the sample size is limited to the Suyos mostly, and
Here's the thing. Technically, Fabian can still pick up the Lucas.
Lucas, yeah.
And there's no setup against the Lucas either. But he has to be careful because there's still a potential slot from Onyx. So wait for the Lucas pick for the next pick. Wait for Sans to pick up something else.
Yeah.
And then he can utilize that as a possibility because that is something he hasn't used in the regular season. Exactly. So he goes Granger first.
Yeah.
Cool.
Makes sense.
All right. So now, without knowing exactly what the plan is for Team Liquid ID, do they want to go for that Valentina and still get the value out of the Netherrealm? Or do they want to go with a good old tried and true Farsa for Sans? Because on Sans, the hero isn't just an artillery mage, it's also a utility assassin.
Last pick though for Onyx. Yeah, they need a mid laner that can really fare against the Paramis. The Valentina was a good shout. They have extra sustainability then if they have the Netherrealm stolen into their clutches. But again, the question is the magic damage enough from the Valentina, right? I mean, it could be in certain degrees, but they go for the Farsa, so... I don't know, man, the Farsa? I think the Farsa gets disrupted by the Phoveus. The Phoveus can just dive to the backline and have safety with the Guiding Wind.
Well, this is Sans we're talking about, though.
Exactly.
It is a lot more difficult to get to him somehow. But to be fair, the goddess of Jakarta, Yehezkiel, knows how the Farsa wants to operate.
Yeah.
A very avid Farsa player himself. Now, though, final pick here for Team Liquid. Is it gonna be the Lucas? Do they want to fight fire, or do they want to go with the aggression? Or do they want to fight fire with fire and go for the expert like you're mentioning, Eterna? Something even crazier somehow.
What are the other options we're looking at? Fredrin?
Fredrin gets kind of easily, to be honest. Lucas.
There you go, Lucas.
Called it, yeah.
All right.
So in a weird way, both teams want to just go in and dive. More burst damage available for Team Liquid ID. More AoE available for Onyx. Now the problem is, when Team Liquid ID are grouping up together, that Feather Airstrike has to be dealt with. The Fist Crack as well, and even the Heavy Crossbow. The AoE damage output is just so much higher from Onyx. So Team Liquid ID have to find ways to avoid that. Perhaps using the Mathilda's mobility.
Exactly. So we're going to see exactly how this all pans out as we head over to our casters. Mirko, Sheffin, take it away for game number 2.
As Mirko would say, it was a stompy stomp in the first game. But let's see if TLID can flip the script here. They have the winning lineup in Season 14. They were the runner-up in M6. Can they do it against the mighty Onyx? Here we go, game number 2.
We've been seeing a whole lot of the mighty Onyx here so far. Game number 1, indeed, Sheffin was a stompy stomp. Let's see if game 2 is any better for Liquid. Because the drafts, we went through it. I think we got all of the picks right, and I don't think we're too big of a fan of the TLID drafts, right? This is like very one-dimensional team fight draft from them.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, Mirko, these combos in Season 11. You can bring it back to that season. The Faramis Mathilda. The Mathilda Phoveus. Mathilda Lucas. This works really well. As Yehezkiel getting burned out of his flicker carry takes some camps away from Fabian. Some pressure early game right from the get-go from Onyx.
Oh, man. The thing about the... Oh, they're going to go all in on Taran. Maybe forcing a flicker out, brought back to the team again. Wow, still saving the flicker! First blood! What?
This is as worse as it gets, especially for an EXP laner. You need the XPs for you to be able to contest the first neutral objective, and they just shoot themselves in the foot.
We got
that
one.
one.
Sheffin, this is a Phoveus. You need 4. You need to survive there. I wonder what the decision was. I mean, yes, sometimes you do want to save your flicker, B-Boy walks up, he has
Oh,
skills, gonna
no.
be
Oh,
KCC'd,
no.
and now good night as well. Fabian goes for the fight, doesn't have ult, has the guiding wind to take it away, but it's a 1,000 gold lead for the mighty Onic.
They said on my bingo card. Kyo is losing the lane too. Top lane, it's nightmare for Iran. Mid lane, Keyboy is doing work. Already 2 involvement in the kills. Kyrie looking for a kill here to Kyo. Already level 4. And it was it's already 1.4k in a span of 2 minutes. This is, we might be seeing once again the resurgence of a Prime Onic.
I feel like TLID are taking it so, like they're taking the front face value of all the picks from Onic. They're really not thinking about it deep. That's the thing about Yeb's draft. You see a few picks, you can't just go for that pure counter straight up. I wonder why the Juicin was banned. Honestly, feather airstrike down below, Kyo, flicker out, free turtle. This is looking to be a stompy stomp. Sounds of the flicker out. Fabian does have the Sacred Beast form. Will be able to dive in. B-Boy with a stun. B-Boy unable to go for the chain CC. Fabian gets away the guiding win from Witty, but no one follows through.
Yep. This is just absolute domination again in the early game. Even more than game number 1. Looking at the win rates though, Fabian, that's a pretty bad win rate on Lucas. 0 out of 3 in regular season. Let's see if they can, once again, you know, flip the script, because it's not looking very good for the Cavalry right now. If this continues on, Eterna said 3-0 might really be possible.
After looking at the drafts, I wasn't a believer before, right? You told me it might be a 3-0 day. I'm like, nah. Maybe B tier Alter Ego, but not Onic TL. After game 1 and then the draft in game 2, I think you guys have convinced me this could be, yes, a 3-0. And man, what a 3-0 would it be? We expected TLID to pull up a whole lot more fight in their first match, an elimination match as the defending champions.
Yep. They got better later part of the season, but when you look at the improvement of Onic compared to other teams, it's pretty much night and day. Yep, the savior of Onic and Kyrie already looking for an engage. Kill getting chopped on.
Shadow kill as well.
Too easy. Way too easy. I don't think he needs even the shadow kill at that part. Keyboy still saving up the flicker, still saving up the ult, and Savero is having the time of his life. Keyboy, are you looking for a solo kill, my dude?
Yeah, taking a stampede away already. No engage potential, mid lane's being frozen. This is a complete shutout. Onic are not letting TLID breathe, not even in their own jungle.
Yep. Very early going one there from San, so a lot more work to do for Weedy and crew, because they do rely heavily on the extra shields, extra HP that's gonna come. Even the spell farms coming in from Fabian and Iran, but they're still on the case on towards the turtle. They have the advantage.
But with the flicker already with the grab as well. Now, oh, able to get onto him. Fabian with the Sacred Beast already used up. That's going to be a big bait onto the resources of TLID. Sacred Beast does nothing.
Oh,
the tail
my
beast
lord.
bump tickled. Look, he regens back up, and the win condition of TL is evaporating.
Silver lining, Kyo is getting some turret hits, but Savero still has the sprint. Let's see if they want to go for this one. No. Onic, man, they're playing it a bit too cleanly, I gotta say. In that fight earlier, they understand, especially Lutpi understands, even though right now he's not on the damage jungler that he really likes, he still somehow controls the objective for Onic. Looking at the in-game equipment by Dunia Games, already 1.2k on the jungle. This is just absolute nightmare for TL. They're looking to make something happen here, but Keyboy with the stun!
Whoa! B-Boy turns it around, Lutpi in the back as well. He's got to be careful about the Ghost Bursters and all in over the back, but no Sacred Beast form, just a turret take, but responded over by Kai up top with another turret.
Yep, it's a trade. At this point, they want to take any trade that they can take, even though it's an equal one. It's gonna favor towards the losing team. They're still gonna stack up on the stacks coming in from Kyo though, so that might be something they can use or utilize in the late game, but Lutpi can just open the bushes anytime that he wants to. Already some EXP leads on towards around Keyboy again. On the Badang, on the momentum heroes, you always can count on this guy to make the play.
Wow.
First item secured, finally, by Fabian.
I don't know, Sheffin. This arena, this Onic performance really is giving me those flashbacks of the mighty Onic of season 13, 12, 11, and 10.
A bit too long.
A bit too long, their reign, their dynasty. But it could be flashbacks or a rewind of what we saw before. Onyx are really controlling every single point. Oh, Aran's chunked down, Feather Airstrike. Taking the SQ Force and regen slow push up top. This is beautiful from Onyx.
Yeah, all the while, Onyx, Kyrie is just farming.
Yeah.
He does not care about the team fights at all. Even right now, he has almost 4-level lead after this turtle against Fabian. But he wants to go for the steal. Did he get it? I think he did. And he gets the turtle.
No, Sans gets a turtle. That's the
Who
key
cares?
in him.
Oh my
Who cares
God.
indeed? The orange buff got taken. Fabian is a 4. He was 4 levels down. Now he's 9. So that makes it only 3. Oh,
Not much better.
what? The thing is, Sheffin, this is what we were already discussing about in the draft itself. I didn't like the Fairness pick because it forced them to just purely play for team fights. They went with the Granger, and then the Lucas was kind of like an obvious pick. They're stuck in this win con. They're stuck in winning a team fight. How do you win a team fight up against a composition that scales better than you, that can deal that much damage? We're still in the early game. I don't even count this as mid-game yet.
Yeah, maybe they need to kite, but maybe a bit too late at this point. 5K, they're still chasing for that 1K gold difference per minute prime Onyx that we used to see. And mind you, this is the stage that Onyx got that 4-beat.
Wow.
Onyx always remind that to me every time he went to sleep. Now, TLID, what do they do? That was the question that you asked to me, Miracle.
Yeah.
But at this point, they're just, waiting for a mistake coming from Onyx. Oh,
Is it the best choice to go for Shadow Kill? Kai picks up a kill. The Nether Realm was years too late.
That's a Phobius, my dude.
Look at Main Kids. Even he's kind of cringing at that damage.
Yeah, he's bracing for Onyx in the next round already, it seems like. And it would be a tough matchup even for Geek Fam. TLID. Being on the back foot is an understatement. They're in the purgatory right now, trying to climb back from the depths of hell. Look at the shots coming in from San, forcing Kyo and Yeheskiel to maybe recall. Jeez.
Onyx are re-climbing the stairs back to the sky, trying to reclaim what was once theirs for the longest time. That Sky King mantle, that moniker, might just come back to them with this kind of performance. Great Dragon Spear, 3rd item. That's how much you know he's snowballing, brother. Usually you go for maybe a melting gun, maybe sometimes a win of nature when you're behind. He goes for a GDS. He wants extra move speed, more crit. He knows TLID cannot take the crit damage, even if they want to.
Yep. Even he's using the sprint. He is confident with his ability to get away from the danger. Kyrie using the Shadow Kill to kill the Lord. And by the way, Miracle, Savero is actually using that GDS in the first game too in the 3rd item. So maybe it's his style.
Yeah. It's not just his style, it's
They're
7,000 gold
Yeah.
in 8 minutes.
Good point, good point.
Oh, this is a 5-level lead. Lucas, he's not... The Naruto in MLBB isn't the Naruto in the anime, you know? He scales in the anime. He can always just talk himself out of bad situations.
Nah, this is not the Shippuden Naruto, which is why he's losing to Kakashi.
Bro, this ain't even the OG Naruto. This is kindergarten Naruto, you know?
Yeah.
Like when he was still being bullied. These are the bullies in school.
Shout out to Hiruzen, the best Hokage of all time.
Oh. Ew. Onyx taking control of the mid lane, tier 2. They have... See, their clear isn't even good. Shadow Kill in the back. Nether Realm already baited with a flicker up from Kyo. They don't even have the best wave clear. Their wave clear is kind of mid. No, it's kind of bad.
And Sans will have the Feathered Airstrike anytime soon. This is just absolute disastrous. Absolute domination coming in from Onyx. 9K already in 10 minutes. Not quite that 1K per minute that we're used to seeing, but they can take the turret actually in the top lane here. They have the wave.
Uh-oh, Keyboard's here for the play. Goes in on Taran, pins him down. That's going to be the guiding win. Anderson with the eagle! Fabian finds a kill. That's a turn. Maybe a mistake from Onyx. Playing it way too aggressively. Winnie jumps in with the guiding win again, but the Shadow Kill does a bit too much damage for them to respect.
Oh my god!
Kai and Lutpi!
They're still going crazy, Kai. Still wants more. Still has the Quad Shadow. Didn't want to go for a run. He went for it, but didn't get the kill. But that was... Savero goes down first, mind you. And they still came out in an equal position.
It's because the damage is still on Kai and Sans. They are just so far ahead that even if you get these prio picks, you've already technically wasted all your resources to get those 2 picks. They should have just been happy with the 2 picks and went back. There's no bounty. This is what's so frustrating for TLID. Even if they get a good team fight now, the good team fight they're looking for is a wipeout.
Yep.
There are no bounties. They can slowly but surely come back into the game, but it'll be a very, very slow game.
Onyx got a hand. If TLID wants to win, the objective is just wait for an Onyx mistake, which is, at this point, it rarely happens. It just happened just now with Savero. A bit too overzealous, just trying to take the turret, but they cannot bank on that strategy. This is not, you know, some Tarkam level tournament. This is MPL ID, the highest stage. Looking at the items though, Kyrie actually goes for
Endless. What's crazy is the Shadow Kill could be used as bait to take away the Netherrealm.
and they still have the resource.
They'll still have... Sans is the split pusher here. Oh my lord.
What?
Gila indeed.
What the burp doing?
The Farsa, the bird, is down below, forcing TLID to rotate, giving the full control, full prio over to Onyx.
Whoa.
High with the open on the bush. Fabian is right there. They're still holding on to the Lord. Farsa slow pushing down below. They gotta concede this one. There's no chance. TLID contest full neutral objective control.
Jeez. And shout out to Keyboy, by the way. I think he's been the most, like, I guess, unsung hero of Onyx because he's been doing his best with the fist crack and also the walls. Just trapping everyone in his place. Kyo, I'm curious to see the economic position or status of this Granger compared to the Irithel, because look at the levels right now. It's already 2 on this 2 gold laner, and they almost take the turret without even a single turret taker in Savera or Kyrie in the bottom lane. And they're gonna take it with the Lord coming in the bottom lane.
Free from the mini waves. Mid lane siege coming down as well. Wave up top dealt with by TLID as they grouped up earlier. Savero slowly but surely munching at the HP bar of the turret in the mid lane. Still Canamine in there. Savero gets the final shot. Turret down in the mid lane and in the bottom lane. Sans has
Watch out for Keyboy.
the feathered airstrike again. Watch out for Keyboy.
Yep, the flicker is always there. He's eyeing for that Keyboy moment. And it might happen in a few seconds. Concealed by Keyboy. Can he get it?
Good spacing from TLID, trying to deny that. Crazy play from Keyboy, goes over to pin down right in front. Aran, 3 shots onto it.
Oh my god!
When the circling eagle, Fabian brought back again. Savero has him in the nature. Keyboy locks him down. Savero baited him. Ludpi in the back, mounts Aran. A flicker up from Aran. Another realm to come down as well. But now it's gonna be Kai, who still has the shadow kill, mind you. Another realm dealt with. Ludpi walks up. We'll have to respect the damage.
Savero on the case, on the base. Kyrie goes in with a quad shadow. Can they do it? Sans still circling. And they go! Keyboy!
The cleanup! And it is over 2-0 for Onyx. A stompy stomp, 2 games in a row. Yikes.
Yikes is right. What the hell is this team, man? Are we seeing again the prime Onyx that we've always talked about in the regular season? We are seeing it in the postseason, in the playoffs. This might be it for Indonesia. The scariest team that's ever walked in MPL Indonesia stage is here.
Sheffin, we've heard the tales of Onyx, even from last season, how if they didn't get knocked out by Geek, they probably would have won their 5th title in a row. We're seeing glimpses of that, even stronger now. That narrative, the old guard with Lutpi and Savero. That trio mid that was already deadly. Now they have backup. Their backup who are just as clean. We gotta throw it over to the desk as well, because we can look at this game just through the picks, just through the fights, but I want the panel to really dissect the draft. That was, yeah, outplaying St. Lucas.
And panelists, there's a lot to break down. Go for it.
Welcome back to the panelist desk, boys and girls. Game number 2. That was a 14-minute, 44-second victory by Onyx. This means we're at match point.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the 3rd game is going to be 16 minutes.
Yeah, we have 2-minute intervals.
2-minute intervals. No
Yeah.
matter what, it's still an Onyx game.
man.
TLID, they literally have only 1 game life left.
Yeah, it's tough because Onyx, I felt like this draft also kind of forced Team Liquid ID into an unfavorable position. We talked about maybe the Faramis pick against the glue, but it didn't really work out that well. The burst wasn't really there that you look for. Usually when you pick up the Faramis against the glue to just pop the blobs. The Lucas was actually doing great stuff alongside the Matilda, trying to salvage a few plays. Like we saw up top, the damage was there, but I think Onyx was just way too fed, way too ahead to be stopped. So they were firing from all cylinders, and it was hard to stop Onyx.
It's rough, man, because their composition forces them to go play a front-to-back properly. That's what the NetherRealm is in there. They have the Granger, right? This is a front-to-back composition with two really good fighters. The thing is, like, in the end, they were forced to use the Lucas as a bit of an assassin. You saw that Hail Mary play on the top side, man. The circling eagle, guiding wind into the backline to try and get Savero. And again, I think they were able to get Savero once, but you can't expect to get Onyx multiple times in a row, man. It was just too difficult. And the fact that they were forced to go with that Lucas pick, I think was one of the main factors there.
Yeah.
With all the assassins banned away and Fabian locked into a very small selection of fighters, I think Onyx just got a read on how Team Liquid ID are going to be forced to play, even with that Faramis against the blue counter.
And we haven't even considered the impact that this guy had in the game, right?
Oh, boy.
Player of the game presented to you by the official tournament smartphone, Samsung Galaxy A36 5G on the Badang. So many opportunities opened up, so many opportunities presented itself because of the fact that he was able to find these opportunities in the early game and hence really just caused so much problems and chaos in these team fights that you wouldn't even consider it team fights. They actually forced a lot of skirmishes away from the winning conditions of TLID and their composition.
Like we were saying earlier, with the burst damages available to Onyx, these aren't really long team fights. These are multiple skirmishes, one after another. Every time Onyx pull the trigger and go for a play, the Feather Airstrike, the Shadow Kill, that's enough to kind of at least, if not get a kill, get one of the members of Team Liquid ID out of the picture already. So it's the difference between just AoE, fighter tools, compared to the raw damage and AoE that Onyx are using to really just get ahead in these fights.
We talked about our concern in the draft, the fact that this Badang can just capitalize on the back of a Faramis NetherRealm. That inherently might just be a double-edged sword that sets up the Badang for success. But the Badang here, what I like that Kibo was doing, he was also peeling for his teammates with the fist break and the fist crack. It really helps them to then follow it up into a bigger fight. We saw that, right? Sans just following up on the back of a 2-man, 3-man fist break into a fist crack, and then Kyrie just jumping in with a Shadow Kill as well. So everything was just symphonious for Onyx, for TLID. Again, it was them just trying to be far back, waiting for a moment to happen, and then they can just jump and pounce in with the Lucas and the Matilda.
Yeah.
But look at the kills that they're able to bring, too, against an 11-kill team. So, yeah, it was hard for them to really win out on the team fights.
Here's the thing. The composition that TLID brought had like a really small window of winning conditions. Bringing a Lucas means that you really need to have to be able to dominate the early game. So even if, let's say, we're utilizing that argument that they have to stave off the pressure from Onyx in the early game, that's not really how a Lucas works. Look at the disparity of gold right now between Fabian and Kyrie. That's a 5,000 gold difference, 6,000 rather.
6,000.
And that was a 5 XP gap between the jungle. So in what world would TLID be able to come back from this? Considering even in the late game, what do they have to show for, right? That's Ranger that they're utilizing, who has no stacks.
And maybe the Faramis with the passive, right? You can kind of come back a bit faster, cycle the death timers in a bit of a cheesy way. I feel like the critical things that kind of made Team Liquid ID lose happened in the early game for sure, man. The fact that they have a Matilda and no frontline roamer makes it so that Onyx, they can always have the first move. They can send Keyboy into a bush, into the danger zones, and then you can see it in the earlier skirmishes, in the highlights, every single time. By the time the Team Liquid has grouped up together, Aran is too low to fight, or even take it out outright. And that's the same thing for him, for the Lucas as well. The fact that Onyx just have the control better off because they're having a Badang against a Matilda in a game where they require that vision and that area control in order to set up for these big plays. Because of that, Team Liquid ID are just gonna be forced to kind of spend some resources and time onto the Badang, and that's where, before you know it, the glue shows up, the Feather Airstrike gets popped up, Kyrie dives in, and before you know it, someone's already out of the fight.
That's sad. That's totally sad. Look at the item timings. at Favian, for example, the Hunter Strike was completed when Kyrie is able to reach 2 items.
Yeah, it's actually worse. In previous game, like the War Axe was completed, the second item was completed like at 9 minutes, somewhere there.
8, 9.
It's even later now, man. Because again, the Lucas needs to be snowballing, but Team Liquid ID were unable to get circumstances where the Lucas has like a target-rich environment to really, start snowballing, get some kills on the board.
Yeah, because to be honest, Lucas kind of falls out of relevance in the late game. When people are, when your enemies are already stacking up on defense items, the Lucas just becomes another frontline to eat, right? And for TLID, I feel like they don't really have an inherent healer. Maybe the Matilda is kind of, because you have the Guiding Wind, but the Guiding Wind will always be equipped for the Phoveus after a dive happens, maybe with Infernal Pursuit to jump into the back, and then he hitchhikes a ride with that Guiding Wind. But there isn't really a frontliner that really wants to protect the team, right? That's the problem with this with that composition that TLID had. The Phoveus had to dive, the Lucas had to fight as well. The Matilda, somehow with the Circling Eagle, does that as well. So then the backline just becomes vulnerable completely. And picture Keyboy with a Badang just jumping in at you, and a fist crack combo happens. That's just the end of the story.
And you have to wonder if that's the idea from Coach Yeb. Go for the glue, bait out the Theramis. Because I think Mirko mentioned that, dude, this NetherRealm is years too late. And that's not exactly his fault, right? With so much mobility, with the Lucas and the Phoveus diving so far out, and also pulling back so far with the Guiding Wind, if you're a Theramis, how are you supposed to keep up?
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna Shadow Stampede to catch up with a flying Phoveus? So it kind of nullifies that NetherRealm pressure as well. We saw that Team Liquid ID were unable to use it to, there weren't any big moments, big fights won off the NetherRealm. And not to mention, with the Granger in the picture, it's not even that kind of hyper carry like a Natan that can really benefit with the safety that NetherRealm provides. So it's a pick that was baited out by that glue pick. And looking at the big picture now, especially after the conclusion, you really have to wonder if that was like a bait, like a mind game coming in from Coach Yeb.
Yeah, with the glue, right? So
Yeah.
Get the Theramis, and then
curveball.
get the Badang, get the Farsa, right? Just combo.
That's why the Farsa pick instead of the Valentina was also really brilliant.
Yeah.
They knew that they needed a little bit more damage in the early game to accentuate the plays coming in from the Badang, plus the hyper aggression coming in from Kyrie on the Hayabusa. And that's the way that they were able to anchor down on the early game and to prevent the snowball happening coming in from Lucas. So it's all just going according to plan now for Coach Yeb and Adi, Onyx 2-0 right now. And it comes back to the drafts once again. Do you think that in game number 3, TLID can reshuffle, refocus, and finally win out the drafts?
Hey, we had this conversation, Arashi. It's okay, it's a best of 5. They can try to probe around, sniff what Onyx
They
trying
can
to
try
do.
it more.
That was at
They can
game
try more.
1.
But this is tournament point for them. This is GG Go Next MPL ID Season 16. They lose here, right?
Yeah.
So there is no more time to try and probe. You have to be bold. I think at this point, just take risks. Just take risks, and maybe try to, contest for your comfort ranks. Like the champ Luyi again, but insofar, Onyx has been so good on banning it.
We talked about Fabian and how he's always so important to the team. Maybe get something, urgently for Fabian here, because I was talking about it earlier, looking at the team fights playing out. Dang, Team Liquid ID are just trying to win fights, and then their sons in the back is outputting damage again and again. Now saying with an assassin, this would look so different, right? And that's why Onyx went for the Farsa. But maybe that's where Team Liquid ID needs something that's dynamic, something that can make plays happen for Fabian. Because remember, when they won, Fabian was a massive factor there. Whether it's on a fighter, on an assassin, the consistent factor is that he's going to be making plays, regardless of what kind of hero he's on.
Exactly. But we're still going to be expecting 3 jungle bans coming in from Onyx.
Yeah,
And the 3 jungle bans are the bans that Fabian is accustomed to, well versed with, right? Joy always taken away, Ling, no chance.
The Fanny perma ban.
Hayabusa picked up by themselves. So what really is the solution here for TLID now?
Yeah, I want to say stop being
Hard.
Fabian-centric, but
It's too late.
They tried.
Kyo hasn't even been performing, right? I mean,